What's up? What's up? I am Dominique Belmonte, and you're listening to Season with Salt, the podcast, and this is the birthday edition.
Season with salt, with salt. Season with salt, with salt.
What's up? This is Dominique Belmonte, and you are listening to Season with Salt, the podcast. So I had an amazing birthday week that is still going. And I wanted to just take some time to thank all the people in my life, whether we've never met or not. Maybe you listen to my podcast, maybe we're Facebook friends or Twitter friends or Instagram friends or whatever. Thank you. I'm an introvert, so I don't quantify uh, like celebrations based on the number of people that show up at a party or the number of gifts that I get. On top of being an introvert, I grew up as a foster kid. So, and when I wasn't in foster care, I was pretty poor, right? And so my expectations for birthdays and are really low. But I wanted to just share with you my a little bit about my journey. And I think I have talked about having like a lot of anxiety around birthdays and celebrations and such. Just given the way that I've been, the way that I was raised, and but God has really been good to me. And over the years, and particularly this year, I feel like so I came to Palm Springs, spending 3 4 days here. It's a beautiful place. I was a little bit reluctant about planning a trip. I'm really not good at planning trips too far ahead of time because I always feel like something might happen. I need to know. And so one of the things that I worked on as a 40-year-old man is how I might like manage my calendar more, plan ahead more. Um, and so um, one night I was like, you really need to um, take advantage of the liberty and the freedom that you have. You're a hard worker, and you should do something that you really want to do, a new experience. So I kind of pulled my Facebook folks and I said, "Hey, y'all, where do y'all think I should go?" So I was thinking about Las Vegas, but I used to live there because I went to grad school there. I was thinking about Seattle. I did go there last year. I went to Los Angeles last year as well, kind of like a little 3-city trip for my 40th birthday. Um, and I was thinking about Monterey, and then Sacramento, where I live, had the rainiest day, I guess, maybe in the history of Sacramento. I mean, it just poured and poured and poured. And I was on the phone with somebody, I don't remember who it was, and they were like, why would you go to Monterey? Because I kind of settled on Monterey because I was like dragging my feet on buying the ticket to Palm Springs, and so I was like, I'm just gonna go to Monterey. And I started to look at like the cost of hotels in Monterey, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's literally cheaper to go to a better place. So I booked the flight, got the hotel. I'm a Marriott Bonvoy member, so that really helped to be able to secure a very nice hotel. So I got to the city of Palm Springs and realized that if you are a person whose birthday changes on, or you're a person that needs your new ID card on your birthday, like most of us are, then there's a lot of things that you can't do. So the first night I ended up staying in a Marriott close to the airport that had a shuttle with the intention of getting up in the morning, doing some work, like kind of closing out before vacation. And I ended up having to go to the DMV to get my real ID, and they would let me rent a car because my ID was going to expire during the trip. It was just a mess, but a good mess, right? So I ended up going to the DMV in Palm Springs. It literally took me 17 minutes Like, I was, like, really shocked that, and actually, the Lyft driver on the way was like, "This is the best DMV ever." Like, people always go to all the other DMVs and they don't come here, and you're gonna be surprised at how soon, you're in and out of here. So I was able to get that fixed, went back to the hotel. I went back to the airport, got my rental car, left my backpack in the lift, which was a mess. And then luckily the guy was nice. He came back and brought my backpack, and then I headed to Desert Springs where I'm staying at the JW Marriott. But let me just start. I want to give you that sort of like piece of, and I'm celebrating my birthday for a week like everybody else does. Wednesday to Wednesday, even though my birthday was on Thursday. So I already talked to you in the last episode about like my little brother coming to visit me. And it's just so crazy because he came so he lives in Seattle and he came on the rainiest day that Sacramento has ever had, and everybody knows that it rains in Seattle. So it was just such a beautiful time with him. It was a short time. He came while I was in church. A friend of mine picked him up, brought him to church, and then afterwards, we went to lunch with some friends, and then we went to the mall. Then we went to the bathhouse. Then we got some fried chicken and talked a little, fell asleep, and then I was up at 5 a.m. taking him back to the airport. So it was a short but amazing trip. It was all that you could ask for in a trip. And as I stated, it was just a blessing to me that because I go to all my family members' birthdays, immediate family's birthdays, and it blessed me that somebody in my family for the first time, like intentionally, had come to visit me. So that was a plus. And that for me was incredible because I think that my brother got to see how people honor and respect me, and then my family, my Sacramento family, like the people that I love here, got to see my brother honoring me, and so I thought that really blessed me, right? Because sometimes when you live somewhere else and you're away from your family, like people don't. They know what you mean to them, but they don't know like the full story, right? So that was a blessing to me. Um, I want to tell you, however, like just this, and this won't be a long episode because I got things to do because I'm still in Palm Springs and trying to like hit the city before it's time to get on my flight tonight. But one of the things that I had this come to Jesus moment. Like I got here and I started like thinking about what I was going to do, and I was spending a lot of time on my phone looking for things and as I was like reflecting on like how I have normally spent birthdays and the attitude and the energy that I have given them, um as an introvert, I'm usually doing things alone, right? Like, and so, but birthdays traditionally are celebrated with a lot of people. And I realized that there's a part of me that wants this sort of traditional experience where like you have a birthday and everybody meets and then you're just blowing out cake and all that kind of stuff. But I haven't lived that life all year, right? Like, I mean, I've gone to other people's birthdays, but I'm not a person that gets together in the crowd. I don't go to other people's birthday parties really unless I'm invited. And so that's not really my thing, you know. So the expectation, I don't even know how I would like have. I don't know what I would do if I like if somebody was planning a party for me, which I'd probably want to get like in that mindset because when I turn 50, I want to have a party. But if somebody was planning a party for me, I wouldn't know how to show up. I wouldn't know how to do. I wouldn't know how to manage my need to control the details so that I'm not disappointed. I wouldn't know what to do. So I'm like on this resort and I'm trying to think about all the things that I'm going to do. And I'm thinking about like putting things in my calendar and like going to the mall to find something else to wear, even though I'm already here in Palm Desert. And it was like the Lord spoke to my heart as clear as day. And he said to me, Dominique, you don't have to come to a place and continue searching for happiness. Like everything that you need, you already have. And that really touched my heart because it was like it stops me in my tracks because I realized that I was spending so much time like trying to curate some type of perfection. And I was already in a place, already in a mind state, already in a heart state, already in a physical place that was so beautiful that I was interrupting it by trying to find some other way to be or look or experience or who to experience it with. And I think that's incredible, and that's a really valuable lesson for me as I've left 40 and I'm in 41, and I'm thinking about like how I might experience fully and wholeheartedly where I am and what I already have, and it that comes from a space of it is both experiencing life through gratitude, so I'm benefiting from the favor of God, things that I would have never imagined having access to as a person who grew up poor or what have you. And I think what God was really trying to minister to my heart to see is that you're putting stock in the wrong things, right? Like the people matter, the places matter, but not the elementary things. And so honestly, to be honest with you, prior to the Lord really opening my eyes to that, and even probably after that too, there are some things that I missed because I was unwilling to be in the moment, because I wanted to be able to say, oh, I responded to everybody on Facebook, or I was like checking to see, I was reading people. I just, missed a lot of where I was trying to manage and to review and all this stuff about. So I realize that, and a part of this is like I packed before I came. Like I knew what was in my suitcase. I bought a few things to wear. When I got here, I decided that there was something else that I wanted to wear. So I was running around like going to stores that I have in Sacramento, like trying to curate a look because I want it. And I spent so much time looking for what I was going to wear that I ran out of time with regard to like even wearing it because I had just really, been like, I got to wear this. And the sun went down and then there was nowhere to wear it to. And then also like, I had enough. I already had what I needed. What I needed to wear was already in my suitcase. Right. And I could have saved so much time by just living in the moment. And I think that the Lord's revelation to me that you already have everything that you need to be happy and to be successful and to enjoy the moment, like is just something that I'm going to carry with me because missing what's in front of you because of poor planning or needing to manage things or control, like really just has this. I think a lot of times too it's not even like I think we all know people who like every moment of their experience, like if they're doing anything that makes them happy, they're posting constantly on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, like, you've got a new man or a new woman, and you're just telling everybody like every step and sort of and I think sometimes like the joy of there is a lot of joy in being able to say, oh my gosh, this is happening to me, like I'm able to do something that other people did. But I thought about it, I was like, what would happen if I would have just turned off my phone, right? And I did this to an extent. I did do this to an extent after God really started to minister to my heart. But I think about like what would happen if you just rested in the moment. And resting in the moment, like, is not trying to make something better and in the process of making it better, making it worse. Right? Resting in the moment is just saying, God, I thank you that you allowed me to experience this, and I'm not going to be anxious, right? I'm going to just sit or just listen or just experience or just watch. The other thing that I have this bad habit of doing is like being really unsatisfied with things and like chasing something that I'm telling all off of myself, but just I think my hope is not that people listen to this and they're like, oh, I'm going to tell him what he should do next time. My hope is that people can feel and hear and experience what I'm saying as a part of how they experience things. So I have this bad thing where I'm like, when I check into a room, it's almost for certain that when I check into a hotel, and I check into a lot of them, that the first room that I check in, I'm probably not going to stay in because I go into that experience looking for something wrong. The other thing that I do is I want to make sure that the photos reflect what I experienced with my eyes and what the photos said I was going to experience. And so generally, I'll move hotel rooms one or two or three times depending on the experience. Well, this time, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily a bad thing, but I just knew what I wanted to experience. And I spent a whole day, right, working with the hotel to ensure that I was in the room that was advertised. And a part of the time that I spent doing that, I missed the opportunity to do other things. And so sometimes the work is to become satisfied with what you have so that you can create new memories, right? That's probably why it's difficult for me to go on trips with other people because I would be just a mess. Because I like settling is not my thing, right? so a person that might travel with me and we're going to share a room or a rental car or something like that, like they're in for a rude awakening. We might spend an extra 45 minutes. We're going to get a better car and a better room. um that has to be something that other people value because I'd rather wait and struggle to have better than to have more time. And so God is just like, snap out of that so that you don't miss what I have, right? Like I'm on a resort, like I'm going to there's only going to be so much time that I'm going to spend in the room. So why does the intricate details of the room matter? So anyway, I think it's cool to be like a curator of your experience and wanting it to be perfect and wanting to feel like this is what I planned, this is what I anticipated. I think that that is beautiful, and I want that for everybody. I think, however, that we cannot do that at the expense of true happiness, at the expense of new experiences, at the expense of peace with other people, and at the expense of our own personal satisfaction. And then also at the expense of experiencing beautiful things with gratitude to God, right? Like what I have is enough. I think that's the thing. What I have is enough. And by any stretch of the image, what I have is much better. There's some people, and I have experienced, I've been on the other side where what I have is what I mean, it's just so far from glamorous or beautiful or memorable. And so God has been so good and so kind. So, anyway, I just wanted to share that. I wanted to tell you all again, I'm probably not going to be able to respond to 500 responses, but I feel extremely loved. I feel extremely honored, and what that does for me is it reminds me of my obligation to keep on giving and sharing with other people. And it reminds me of my obligation to create opportunities to accept other people's love. And then it reminds me that nothing that you do for God will go unnoticed. He has a way of satisfying your soul. And so, thank you all for being a part of, even if it was just that you wrote on my Facebook wall or send me a text or took the time to um, say something beautiful. I feel like a part of me feels like I'm reaping what I sow. But the other part of me feels like some of this I don't deserve because people have just been so kind and loving to me. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I hope that everybody gets to experience this love and joy, and I take my responsibility for creating that in everyone's life. So I love you all, and thank you for listening. And you are listening to Season with Salt, the podcast. You can follow me on Facebook, Dominique Beaumonte, or at SWS Podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram, SWS Podcast, or you can follow us on Twitter, SWS The Podcast. You can also check me out on The Travel Bow on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And I'd love to interact with you and let you know where my journey is leading me. Just remember that God is calling us to season the world with salt. We have what it takes to be the flavor of the world. And so keep going, keep trusting God, and keep living your best life.
Season